Supreme Court adjourns hearing on Naira crisis. The National Emergency Management Agency receives 150 repatriated Nigerians from Niger Republic. Plus, the African Union sets to send top observers for Nigerian election. Hello, this is News Live on Viewer Television. I am Joy Malik. Well, many thanks for joining us. Now, the Supreme Court has adjourned the suits filed by some state governments to challenge the 10th February deadline set by the Central Bank of Nigeria to end the use of old Naira notes. A 7-member panel of the court, led by John Okoro, adjourned the case until 22nd February. The adjournment dashed the hopes of many Nigerians who were anticipating a definite pronouncement of the court to address the federal government's refusal to comply with its earlier suspending the 10th February deadline. Now, the crisis has plugged many citizens and their businesses into hardships, with many finding it extremely difficult to meet their basic daily needs. Many believe that a further adjournment of the hearing and final resolution of the case by the court would deepen the hardships Nigerians are grappling with as a result of the Naira redesign policy of the central bank. Still on Naira redesign, protesters in their thousands have blocked major roads within Ibadan metropolis over the scarcity of full new Naira notes and the rejection of the old note by commercial banks and commercial outlets. The protests, which affected areas like Iwo Road, Bodija, Mokola, Eruwa Road, Gopa, and others, forcing commuters to take to their legs and drivers seeking alternative roads to their destinations. The protesters, who were mostly youths, were seen burning tires on the roads, while motorists were hurriedly making U-turns to avoid being caught up in the protest. Most of the motorists plying the roads in the affected areas were seen displaying leaves in front of the vehicles as a show of solidarity with the protesters. The protesters called on the federal government and the Central Bank of Nigeria to urgently address the situation, as they could no longer stand watching their livelihood being threatened. Now, the National Emergency Management Agency says it has received a batch of 150 distressed Nigerians from Niamey in Niger Republic. The Director General of the agency, Mustafa Ahmed, received the returnees on arrival, according to a statement made available to newsmen. Now, Ahmed was represented by Coordinator of NEMA Territorial Office, Ibrahim. Other agencies said to have participated in the operation, where the Nigerian Immigration Service, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, the Nigerian Police, and the Nigerian Port Health Service. The head of mission of the International Organization for Migration, Lauren, reportedly witnessed the reception organized by NEMA. Now, Justice Obiara of Federal High Court Abuja has fixed ruling in the bail application by Ali Bello and 3 others standing trial in an alleged 3 billion naira fraud charge brought against them by the federal government. Now, the judge announced February 20th for a ruling shortly after counsel representing parties argued for and against granting the bail application of the defendant. A senior advocate, Ahmed Raji, who argued the applications of the 4 defendants, observed that the offences brought against his clients were ordinarily bail-able and as such should be considered and granted. He also stated that bail was at the discretion of the court and that the court should use its discretion in favor of the defendant. Well, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arrested the fraudster Salman Umar Hudu, an indigene of Kano State. He was arrested at a hotel in Abuja for falsely presenting himself as the EFCC chairman Abdul Rashid Bawa and other officers of the commission. The anti-graft agency said Hudu allegedly obtained 100,000 naira from a person he convinced that he could handle any matter with the commission. This was disclosed in a statement posted on the commission's website. EFCC said the suspect has provided useful information and will be charged to court upon the conclusion of investigations into his activities. Rising from an emergency session and its first meeting this year, the National Economic Council has endorsed the Nigerian Agenda 2050, designed to take the country through to upper middle-income country and subsequently to the status of high-income countries. At a meeting presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, the Agenda 2050 was presented by the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning to state governors and other members of NEC, including federal ministers. Speaking after the presentation and discussion by council members, Professor Osinbajo observed that the plan captures a lot of expectations for Nigerian in the future and hopefully implementation, which is key if effectively done. Also commenting on the Agenda 2050, the Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Prince Clem Agba, said the federal government has taken unprecedented steps in ensuring the operationalization of the plan, especially with the inauguration of the Steering Committee of the National Development Plan by the Vice President. Well, when News Live returns, the Federal High Court in Lagos State has granted bail to an actress who was arraigned before the court by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for allegedly spraying new naira notes at a party. Now, details of these and more comes to you right after the break. So stay tuned.
Good morning, gentlemen.
How are you?
I'm at the Envoy Hotel, Diplomatic Drive 305, here for a business weekend. It's been an amazing stay. Conference hall and business facilities here are stylish and innovative. The Envoy Hotel is luxury, esoteric, opulent, for ultimate comfort.
Discerning travelers, we are more than just a place to stay. We are an icon of comfort, style, and thoughtful luxury. We are Envoy Hotel.
Welcome back. If it is joining us, this is News Live and Viewer Television. Let's take a recap of our top stories. Supreme Court adjourns hearing on Naira crisis. The National Emergency Management Agency receives 150 repatriated Nigerians from Niger Republic. Plus, the African Union sets to send top observers for Nigerians election. Now let's take it to River State, where the governor of River State, Yesem Ezewan Wike, says the G5 of Integrity Group within the People's Democratic Party is now running out of steam, adding that the group will act out its plan in the February 25th, 2023 presidential election. Now, Governor Wike spoke during the party's governorship campaign in the Awoda East local government area of River State. The G5 is made up of 5 governors of the PDP in southern Nigeria, including Wike, Samuel Thom, Sheyi Makinde, Okeze, and Ifeanyi. The 5 governors have been consistent in their demand that Ayu steps down as PDP national chairman as a precondition for them to support the presidential ambition of the party's flag bearer Atiku Abubakar. Now, the 5 governors known to embark on foreign trips together and solidarity campaigns in the state have not been seen together in public. The development fueled speculations that the alliance is of no effect anymore. The outgone Lagos State Commissioner of Police Abiodun Alabi has assured residents of Lagos and Ogun State that they would exercise the civic right in an atmosphere of peace and security during the forthcoming general election. Alabi spoke against the backdrop of viral voice notes of alleged threats of non-indigenes to vote for a particular political party or they would be visited by violence. The outgone Commissioner of Police, who was redeployed as acting Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 2, comprising Lagos and Ogun State, said the police would continue to deal with those who believed they could make the state ungovernable. He said security operatives had continuously mopped up firearms and arrested miscreants and cultists, adding that he would ensure that they did not relent in their efforts to keep troublemakers at bay. Still on the 2023 general elections, now ahead of the 2023 general elections, the Labour Party movement continues to gain momentum in several states as professionals of Obidati presidency grassroots mobilization hit the streets of Kaduna to show support for the Labour Party candidate. Members of the group took turns to address the electorates and urged them not to sell their votes but to thumb prints on the Labour Party logo in 2023 general elections for the actualization of a better Nigeria.
Together, and then we'll march towards Amulobelo Stadium. We are fully prepared. As you can see, all the polls that have been done so far has put our party ahead of all other parties. And you can see us on the street also. See the number of people that are with us. So this election is ours, and we are going to win the election from top all through to all of our candidates.
Every Nigerian as at today knows what is going on, and we know that vote buying has been there before now. Labour Party does not buy votes, and we cannot advise people to buy votes. And I know that all obedience have decided that we are not going to sell our votes, so they cannot buy our votes. We are also sensitizing the public, the candidates themselves, that they should not buy votes.
I believe with the president, we are hoping, praying to have on board. Definitely, we're going to change the narrative, and we're going to push to make sure the common man see the light of day once again, breathe in fresh air of hope.
The Kaduna State Labour Party gubernatorial candidate Jonathan Asake, who also assures the electorate that integrity, which forms part of his watchword, will not be abused, as he vows to fill the missing links if elected governor of the state.
As topmost on the agenda, the insecurity has become the problem of everybody. Farmers can no longer go to farm, and schools have been closed down, churches have been closed down, mosques have been closed down, businesses have been closed down, and you can just imagine the suffering, the poverty that people are going through. And so my leadership will definitely tackle that because I've experienced it, I have seen it, and I will live by my words.
Meanwhile, our Kaduna State correspondent Michael Monday also engaged eligible voters on the street to get their thoughts on who is competent and deserves to be the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Among all the leaders, they had the opportunity. Second chance, second expression does not matter. Why won't you express for the first time? We want to go with Obi because we believe that he feels our pain.
We are tired. We are tired. Killings everywhere. No sincerity, particularly our constitution. I advise our leader of today, they should stick by our constitution.
Well, the Federal High Court in Lagos State has granted bail to an actress Oluwa Darisimi, who was arraigned before the courts by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for allegedly spraying new naira notes at a party. Justice Chukwujeku Aneke, who admitted the actress to bail in the sum of 5 million naira with one shorty, is like some also ruled that the shorty must be a public servant in the service of the Federal Republic of Nigeria or the Lagos State government not below the rank of grade 12 or a holder of a genuine statutory certificate of occupancy of a developed landed property within the Lagos State. The court also held that a certified true copy of the original statutory certificate of occupancy of the landed property is to be deposited with the registrar of the court, and in the case of the public servant, an official letter from his or her head of department stating that status and salary level of the shorty. The judge also ordered that the arrest before the remanded in the Kirikiri Correctional Facility pending the perfection of the bail terms before joining the matter to April 3rd for trial. And an insecurity, the Casino's police command says its operatives have neutralized 2 bandits and rescued a kidnapped victim. The operatives also repelled several bandits in 2 communities. SP Gambo Issa, command's public relations officer, in a statement said the command received a distress call that terrorists in their numbers shooting sporadically with AK-47 rifles attacked Kitibawa village, Dusima local government area, and kidnapped one Adoru Mawa. He said the area commander in Dusima immediately led the police patrol team to the area and engaged the terrorists in a gun duel, adding that the team succeeded in repelling the terrorists as one of them was neutralized. According to him, a kidnapped victim was rescued unhurt, while many of the terrorists fled with gunshot wounds. The United Nations Children's Fund and the National Economic Summit Group have launched a new partnership aimed at addressing child rights violations and poverty in Nigeria. Now, the partnership, which was supported by the federal government, will focus on aligning the nation's poverty reduction strategy with the Child and National Multidimensional Poverty Index. It will also help in reviewing social sector policies towards reducing child poverty and implementing presidential-level accountability measures for reporting and feedback on child rights and poverty in Nigeria.
Our children are the leaders of tomorrow. And so it's important that we must then invest and plant the seeds to ensure that these children will truly become the leaders of tomorrow. And so if a child suffers and have negative growth or negative development as an early child, you are laying a not so good foundation for tomorrow. And for us at the NESG, our focus is always to promote the modernization of the Nigerian economy into one that is sustainable, that is globally competitive.
As the 2023 general elections approaches, the Nigerian Army, in collaboration with the other sister security agencies, have commenced a Division Operations Planning Cadre in Bauchi aimed at addressing security challenges in some parts of the country. In his welcome address, General Officer Commanding 3 Division Nigerian Army, Major General A.B. Ibrahim, says the aim of the seminar is to make sure that junior and middle level cadres are up to date with contemporary security issues and how to respond to some challenges. Our Bauchi State correspondent Howell Hassan completes the story.
Addressing Nigeria's security challenges requires a multi-sectoral approach, especially now that many dimensions of insecurity have continued to emerge.
Militancy in the south, insurgency in the northeast, banditry and terrorism in the northwest. Each form of insecurity has its own peculiar set of challenges requiring individualized training for security personnel operating in various zones.
In a quest to address some of the security challenges in the country, there is the need for proper planning, part of which is equipping the security personnel with the knowledge of contemporary security issues.
So this is to make sure that junior and middle level commanders are up to par with contemporary issues and how to respond to all these challenges. Additionally, in let's say next week Saturday, the general elections begin. How do they react? How do we ensure that we have free, fair and credible elections? So all these things are the objectives we're going to carry out.
Hence, the lectures in this cadre are particularly crafted to provide security personnel operating in the North Central and Northeast regions of operation with the necessary tools for facing security challenges peculiar to these regions.
The General Officer Commanding 3 Division Nigerian Army, Major General A.B. Ibrahim, who was represented by Major General Eyitayo Oyinlola, however, charges the participants to make use of the presentation sessions and be interactive.
To all participants in general, I urge you to take keen interest in all the presentations during this cadre. The lecture on junior leadership should be of particular interest to young officers who are deployed in various locations across the North Central and Northeast theaters of operations. I further urge you, all participants from diverse backgrounds, to be objective in your contributions during the interactive sessions.
Awal Hassan, Viewer TV News, Bauchi.
You're still watching News Live in Viewer Television. Business and international news comes to you right after the break. Do stay tuned.
Two souls came together. Two souls came together. They're right now.
Fragrance, the new luxury fragrance for men and women.
And on business news, Nigerians' inflation soared to 21.82% in January 2023, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. This is amid a redesign of the Naira by the Central Bank of Nigeria. January's inflation rate is a 0.48% increase from the 21.34% that was recorded in December 2022. This is a new 17-year high after inflation fell for the first time in December 2022. Prior to December, Nigeria's inflation rate had been rising consistently for 11 months. In 2022, the NBS listed disruption in the supply of food products, increases in import costs due to the Naira's depreciation, and a general increase in the cost of production as a cause of the rise in inflation. And on climate change, the Bank of Industry and the French Development Agency have signed a grant agreement for £2.5 million delegated by the Green Climate Fund to fight climate change in Nigeria. A statement said, though the grant agreement sets up a technical assistance scheme for BOL, the grant was designed to build the capacity of BOL, thereby providing tools for effective identification and development of eligible bankable climate-related projects, as well as improving the readiness of the bank's customers to implement green practices in their operations. In this context, it stated the implementation of the environment and social governance framework provided for in the credit agreement would be an important part of the technical assistance mandate. The statement recalled that BOL and AFD in August 2022 signed a £100 million credit line for the expansion of green finance in Nigeria. This was approved under AFD's Transforming Financial System for Climate program with the Green Climate Fund, $650 million program developed in 17 countries for a 100% climate investment project. Well, Nigerians' oil production has risen month on month by 1.9% to 1.258 million barrels per day (MBD) in January 2023 from 1.335 MBD recorded in December 2022. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries (OPEC) in its February 2023 monthly oil market report obtained by Newsman, however, indicated that on a year-on-year basis, the January output was a massive 10% drop from the 1.399 MBD in January 2022. Now, the report also shows that Nigeria beat Angola that produced 1.50 MBD to become Africa's leading producer, while Equatorial Guinea comes last with 55,000 barrels per day during the period. Nigerians' oil output in January 2023 remained significantly short of the 1.8 million barrels per day allocated to the country by OPEC. Nigeria has so far failed to profit from high oil prices because its production has been curtailed by the activities of oil thieves and pipeline vandals. Inflation in the UK slowed by slightly more than forecast in January, according to the most recent figures from the Office of the National Statistics. On an annual basis, the CPI is to 10.1% in January from 10.5% in December. Contestants had expected inflation to cool to 10.3%. According to FX Streets, on a monthly basis, UK consumer prices fell by 0.6% compared to a 0.4% rise in December. Now, the decline was slightly more than market expectations. Month-on-month inflation was forecast to be minus 0.4% in January. Core inflation, excluding energy, food, alcohol, and tobacco, cooled to 5.8% in January on an annual basis from 6.3% in December. On the news around the world, the African Union Commission has announced that it will be sending a 9-strong observer mission to Nigeria for this month's elections. The African Union Election Observation Mission is being headed by former Kenya President Uhuru Kenyatta, who helped broker a deal to end 2 years of war in northern Ethiopia and is mediating in the conflicts in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Nearly 100 million people will vote to choose the successor to President Muhammadu Buhari, who steps down after 2 terms as Nigerian struggles with widespread insecurity and economic problems. Meanwhile, Nigeria's Electoral Commission had said that 240 polling centers will not be used in upcoming elections as no one had chosen them due to insecurity in the surrounding areas. Now, at least 73 Europe-bound migrants and refugees are missing and presumed dead following a shipwreck off the coast of Libya, the United Nations Migration Agency has said. Now, the International Organization for Migration said on Twitter that Libya authority had retrieved at least 11 bodies from the wreck. The UN says 7 people survived and made it to Libya, shows in extremely dire condition, adding that they were taken to a hospital. The shipwreck was the latest sea tragedy in the central Mediterranean, a key route to migrants. According to the IOM's Missing Migrant Project, 25,821 migrants and refugees have gone missing in the Mediterranean since 2014. Now, the European Union's executive proposed new sanctions on Russia that would cut off goods worth 11 billion euros and target Iran's drone producers over the war in Ukraine. European Commission Chief Ursula says she hopes the EU's 27 member states would agree to the new package as part of a joint battery of G7 sanctions on the 1-year anniversary of the invasion on February 24th. She said Brussels wanted export controls on 47 additional electronic components that can be used in Russian weapon systems, including drones, missiles, helicopters. The new package of sanctions is also due to place further curbs on Iranian manufacturers that have supplied Russia with drones used to attack Ukraine's infrastructure. And that's all the news live, but before we go, let's take a recap of the headlines. Supreme Court adjourns hearing on Naira crisis. The National Emergency Management Agency receives 150 repatriated Nigerians from Niger Republic Plus. The African Union sets to send top observers from Nigeria's elections. Many thanks for watching. I am Joy Bulu. Please stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs. Good night.